This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
All right, welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and here we are back in our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, all you have to do is just go to studio@xzoneradiotv.com on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Millions of videos are uploaded onto the internet every day, whether it be through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the other sites. Some of the videos are innocent and funny, while others are actually capturing a crime taking place. These videos show bystanders filming the crime instead of helping the victim or alerting police. They feel it as if they are so detached that it doesn't call on them to empathize with the victim, even not even calling the police or getting in there and helping. Instead, they film them quickly, upload it onto social media to tally how many likes, hits, or shares it gets. Well, my guest this hour is Nile. He's been seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, and CNN. He's an expert on social media, technology, and human relations. He's the president and CEO of Balance Engines, LLC, and Small Change, LLC. He is a science, technology, and social media reporter. He's a LinkedIn expert, and he's an authority on how to utilize LinkedIn to build your brand, your business, and your connections. And his website is www.balanceengines.com. And Nile, first of all, welcome back to the X-Zone. And what's going on with social media these days? It seems that, it's even worse than mainstream media, and that there's more gruesome stuff and more stuff that's being pumped up onto the social media sites each and every day, especially in this election time.
It's so true, but one of the things that we know is citizen journalism has always been a big thing. Obviously, the Kennedy assassination in the U.S. is one of those examples. The only record we have is some citizen film that was captured, the Zapruder film. So this has been going on for a while, but right now what has changed so dramatically is we all walk around with a phone in our pocket, and that phone has a camera in it. And so whenever anything happens now, the first thing people do is they pull out the camera. And when that happens, everybody's filming and nobody's helping. It turns out there's an effect that's called the bystander effect. It's been documented for years, and when something's happening, people really don't know what to do. It might sound crazy, but until somebody takes that first action, everybody sits on the sidelines. And today we have an excuse. We pull out that camera.
I've often wondered when I've seen some of these videos on the social media sites, what about the person's right who is in that video who doesn't want to be videoed?
Well, one of the things, and this obviously varies based on locale, but when you're in a public spot, which is just about anything outside, and I truly mean this, outside of a bedroom or a bathroom, it's been determined that you don't have much right to privacy. You're in a public spot and you could be filmed. We're starting to see this with drones, for example. Drones could fly overhead. They could film you in your backyard, and people have taken to trying to down the drones and find out that there's legal consequences to that. If you're out in public, you could be videotaped, like it or not. So, I understand that concern, but certainly that one's one that, at least according to the courts, you really don't have a right to anymore.
Nile, stand by. You and I have to take our first break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. X-Zone Nation. Social media dehumanizes society. And we're talking to Nile Nickel this hour. He is a human relations and technology expert. His website is www.balanceengines.com. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Here in our studios from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and around the world on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Don't forget, you can find out who's on the X-Zone Broadcast Network simply by going to www.xzbn.net. Nile Nickel and I return. Don't go away.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience Journey Trance, Power Animals, Helping Spirits, Sacred Space, and Life Purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
Exonation Nile Nicholas, our special guest this hour. www.balanceengines.com. You know, we were talking before we went to the break, Nile, about the only places that are basically private are your bedrooms and your washrooms. And yet these very same people who love taking videos of everyone else, doing everything else, and fight for their right to do these videos, post them on all the social medias, a majority of these people who say that Big Brother is watching us and they don't have the right to do that.
You know, it's fascinating how whether you're filming or being filmed could change your thoughts and feelings about that. There's no doubt about that. As a matter of fact, we've obviously just had a major issue in the U.S. elections where an audio recording came out of Donald Trump that he probably wishes didn't exist. How did that happen? How did it come about? Certainly he's not happy about it, but whoever had it certainly happy about it. So you see these things time and time again. Sometimes they have big consequences.
Well, especially since Billy Bush is Jeb Bush's nephew, that may have had something to do with it, plus the fact that there was never a release signed by Donald Trump. The recording was done without his knowledge. He didn't know the mic was hot.
Yeah, I think the worst part about it was the laws in the U.S., regardless of where you're at, says at least one party has to know of the recording.
Yeah.
In that situation, it sounds like neither party knew that they were being recorded. Clearly an illegal act, but obviously somebody got away with it. At least they have so far.
It's very interesting to watch all the different media clips that are going up on the social media sites for and against each of the candidates. So over the years, how have you seen the changes in social media, and is it getting worse? Is it getting better, or can we expect more of the same?
Well, I think we're going to expect more of the same for a period of time, and social media is a new medium. And quite honestly, whenever we've got some sort of new medium that we're not quite sure what the rules are because nobody's told us, in some cases they haven't been developed yet, we don't know quite how to handle it. And when we don't know how to handle it, we typically don't handle it very well, at least as far as history goes. So we've got this new social media thing. We've got newsrooms that are clearing out. They're now using citizen journalists to generate the news for them. In fact, most big news-breaking events happen from social media-generated content today versus somebody in a newsroom breaking it. So you're starting to see a reward system. We've got a system where rules haven't been established. We don't know what the social norms are. And so you've got a little bit of the Wild West going on. And the Wild West is now in our palms, on our smartphone devices or laptops, and it's called social media.
Should these social media venues be allowed to continue without rules and regulations?
Well, I think as we start to see some of the more heinous, and I that's the best term for it, events occur, I think we're going to start to see some rules develop. And once the rules are propagated, people really know and understand the rules, hey, maybe it'll be a little bit better. At least it won't get in the mainstream. You'll still have people posting in places where it might be consumed, but certainly not the mainstream.
You'd think that we would have learned when it comes to social media that there should be rules and regulations implemented by the amount of cyberbullying that is still being perpetrated on the social media sites. And it seems that nobody is doing anything about it.
Yeah, and right now I know if you have an issue of being cyberbullied, and you call your local law enforcement, whatever that might be in your locale, in many cases they don't know what to do about it. They don't have officers that are responsible to investigate. They don't know how to investigate. And in cases like that, and I know this because I've been contacted for this, they try to bring in outside experts to say, okay, how do we find this? Where do we go? How do we find out who these people are? Are they real? Is John Smith on the social media site real John Smith, or is it Mary Thompson? So, they're right now struggling, and when I say they, law enforcement, to be able to help with cyberbullying. And when we've got that situation that's occurring, obviously it doesn't give people that are victims of that very much confidence in that getting resolved.
And then you've got the social media aspect that is being used by terror organizations like ISIS.
Social media is one of the main avenues of communication for not only terrorists but a lot of criminal organizations, because they could post triggers in pictures. They could actually embed textual information in pictures. And if they know that a picture is going to go up and it's going to have a message in it that they pull down and decrypt the message, they're able to pass messages in plain sight. And it's really scary what you could do and what is being done on social media these days.
What do you think the biggest problem is with social media, and how does it dehumanize society?
Well, when we sit behind a keyboard and we don't have any visual cues or auditory cues, it's real easy to say things or do things that are really very inhumane. And the interesting thing is sometimes, and this certainly isn't a defense, but we don't think about it because we don't see it as a human action. We're talking to a keyboard. We're expressing our thoughts. We're just venting to, a computer screen and a keyboard. What we fail to realize is there's somebody else on the other end of that. And when they read the messages, they could really become very hurtful. And we've seen so many cases where something was done online, and whether it was accidentally, whether it was just a cavalier attitude, whatever it may have been, they take some action, and all of a sudden it translates into the real world. And now you've got physical actions following some sort of cyber conversation or argument or battle that went on.
Do you think that the social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the rest of them should be taking more responsibility and doing more to make sure that this doesn't happen?
I do. When you think about, let's just talk about Facebook, for example.
Okay.
Facebook was developed by a college student to be able to allow other college students to connect, find out what was happening, and just become more in tune with each other. Well, certainly it's involved into something much bigger than that, where just the ad revenue alone, which is their primary revenue today, is in the billions of dollars a quarter. And when you've got revenue like that now, and you've got the number of people on the site in such a wide range of activities and ages and cultures and everything else, you now, I think, take on a responsibility you have to be responsible for the content that's there, to manage it and all of that. So back when Facebook started, clearly the way they started, it was very appropriate. What they've grown into, I think they've grown into sort of, to steal a movie from a Marvel comic, Spider-Man, with power comes responsibility. They've got a lot of power today, and with that power has come a lot of responsibility, and I think they have to own up to that responsibility.
Exonation Nile Nickel is our guest this hour, balanceengines.com. With all this money that they are making, have they gotten too big too fast?
I don't think there's any question about that. They are clearly dealing with problems and issues, and people that are manipulating the site that they had never foreseen, they'd never contemplated, and there's not a roadmap for it. Nobody knew this was going to happen. It wasn't going to evolve like this. So they are forced into the position of playing catch-up quickly. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, you've seen a number of instances where there have been cyber bullying issues, maybe even some suicides as a result of some of the cyber bullying that has went on. They've tried to react to those situations, and what they're trying to do right now is they're trying to use more, some of what we started talking about earlier in the show. They're trying to get more citizens, more users of the site to be able to notice things, and when they notice them, report them so that they can take action. I think they've also got the ability today to be able to use some artificial intelligence programs to be able to monitor some of the things and at least bring them to the attention of internal moderators that might be able to take some action on that.
So basically have the social media sites police themselves. Yeah,
that's certainly going to have to be part of what they do. Right now they count on users to help them in their policing efforts. They're certainly going to have to grow into something bigger than what they're doing today, because what they're doing today really could cause a lot of damage before somebody reports it.
Do you think the government should get involved and start regulating the social media sites?
That's a double-edged sword.
Yep.
One part of me wants to say, it probably is necessary and required, but every time I see government stick their noses into something like that, they tend to go overboard in one direction or the other, and it tends to cause sometimes more problems than it actually solves. And so, do we all want to see the problem solved? Absolutely. Does it require more regulation? Yeah, I'm nervous about that. I think when we start talking about the potential of regulation, I think now the sites start to get a lot more interest in some of the self-policing that they need to do.
I've noticed a lot of the social media sites have got pro and con Hillary and Trump. And I'm just wondering, how much influence do social media sites have on the people who actually have the power to vote these people as president? Or, where do you draw the line?
That is a scary issue. I don't know if you followed this, but a few years ago, there was a social experiment conducted by Facebook. It was Facebook scientists that did it. They actually published the results. But what they found is they were able to change the attitudes of people, either in a positive way or a negative way, based on what they put in their news feed. And so they found that they could manipulate the feelings and emotions of people based on news feed content. And if they wanted to feed a certain amount of content a certain way, they could influence how somebody was going to react to it.
All right, stand by, Nile. You and I have to take a break. ExoNation, Nile Nickel is our special guest, www.balanceengines.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue this interesting conversation into the social media. And who knows what else we'll get into. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Exonation Nile Nickel is my guest, www.balanceengines.com, and he is also the host of the podcast show, The Social Media Business Hour. We were talking before we went to the break about how the internet or how social media can actually affect the outcome of given events, and you were describing how a social media experiment was run and how scientists have found out that, yes, what goes into a news feed can certainly affect the outcome of something. Here you are, you're coming into an election next month. What is it, November the 8th, I believe?
I believe that's correct.
And you have all this information coming out on the social media sites about Donald Trump, about Hillary Clinton. He says, she says, she says, he says. How does a voter who is addicted, and I know people who are addicted to Facebook, how do they rationalize what is fact and what is fiction?
Well, that's a good question, because one of the challenges that anybody that's on social media faces is this this true or not? And the second thing is how recent is this story? You'll find a lot of stories that are recycled on social media, and sometimes they come out and they will inflame a situation like this just occurred when it in fact occurred 2 years ago. But as we talked about, they did a social experiment, and they found out that they can manipulate how you think or feel. They have a motivation to do that for the ad revenue. But the question, I think, is there, and that is, what happens if they decide that they want to try to influence the election? They determine very quickly if a voter is a likely Republican or a Democrat, and how they are likely to vote. They could fill your news feed one way or another and try to sway you.
So basically, we're talking about social media. Oh my gosh, I just had the word here. Hold on here. Subliminal messaging.
Yeah, we really are. I mean, if we start talking about PR, and in a lot of respects, social media uses a lot of PR strategies, whether we realize it or not. One of the things that PR professionals have been concerned about for well over 100 years now is the ethical duty that they have, because they know that they can manipulate people's thoughts and feelings. Well, we're seeing people that are very good about doing that on social media. As a matter of fact, I read a book recently, and some of the listeners would probably enjoy it a lot. It's called Trust Me, I'm Lying, Confessions of a Media Manipulator, by a gentleman by the name of Brian Holiday. And he talks about how they specifically will inflame a story, put edgy posts out on a story, do some things like that to manipulate the people responding to that story, so they get them to respond the way they want them to.
There was something on Facebook today that I just couldn't believe people were so stupid to believing it. Here you've got it's all about the voting fraud in one of the states, and they've got this footage, and in the corner is the Russian flag. It had nothing to do with U.S. elections. It was voter fraud in the Russian elections. And yet people were just getting inflamed. How can this happen in the United States? And yet there's a Russian flag right there.
Well, you did something that most people don't do, and that is you looked at it critically and you analyzed it and you asked yourself a few questions.
Sure.
And unfortunately, we sometimes too easily fall prey to the information that's there, and I have been guilty of that, and I'm an expert. We don't take the time to do those things. Obviously, there are sites that you could go to, Scopes is one of them, where you could check the validity of some of these posts to find out if they're really true or they're not true. Some of these things are just pure outright fiction, but they sure weave a good story.
And it's funny because I'm looking at it, I'm saying, that's a Russian flag, and then I look at the comments. The number of shares were astronomical. I'm saying, my gosh. And in fact, I did an op-ed the other day about the power of the media. It's no longer we the people, it's we the media. And social media fits right into that category because it's based on money. If it don't bleed, it don't lead. You want the numbers.
And if it doesn't get likes, it's not going to stick around very long.
Exactly.
If it gets a lot of likes, it's going to go viral and be shared tremendously.
So what does this do for someone who wants to put the real news out there, and they know that they're going against sensationalism? Isn't this counterproductive?
What you're seeing is you're starting to see newsrooms clear out.
Yeah.
And they want to use citizen journalists. As a matter of fact, Fox News specifically has said, we're looking to replace a number of our newsrooms. They've partnered with some people, and it's called Fresno, as a matter of fact, and you could sign up as a citizen for Fresno, and every time a video gets shared, you get $75, and a photo gets shared, you get $30. So, they, the big news media, Fox in this case, is now pushing that out to citizens and incentivizing them to share the information. Now, is there any fact-checking that goes on? Are there ethics that are in place? We know the answer to that. There just simply isn't.
Yeah. So what's happening to credible journalism? Is it a thing of the past? Like there's no more Walter Cronkites, there's no more Dan Reesners, that we're all now looking at CNN and all the wingnuts they have there and the other alphabet soup media that's out there?
Well, Fox News is one of these major networks, and the fact that they are trying to replace journalists in newsrooms, and I mean completely replace, not just, maybe we'll downsize a little bit. I'm talking about an outright, let's take them all out and put citizen journalism in place, and that's what we're going to rely on. Listen, serious journalists spend a lot of time and spend a lot of money, get a lot of education to be able to do their job properly, and they feel a certain responsibility to report things accurately. If I'm about the next $75 that I'm going to get, I'm really not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the next $75 payment.
Yeah, it's like the World Weekly News is going to be replacing all of the newsrooms, and like you were saying, the true journalist takes pride in his job or her job. She's gone to broadcast school. They've gone to journalism school. They've paid their dues just to be ousted by anybody with an iPhone. That is so insulting and so demeaning and so wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, because of the economics of it, that's exactly what's happening. And we, the people, guess what? We're supporting that because we're supporting it with our dollars. We're showing where we vote based on where our eyes and where our attention is. And when you consider that the average person that consumes social media is on social media more than 2 hours a day.
Wow.
It tells you where their eyes are.
I would imagine that social media, as well as other aspects of the technological world, is an addiction.
Well, they found out that's the case, too. As a matter of fact, I did a story on this a few years ago, they've actually found true psychological effects, full withdrawal effects if you take it away, that are stronger than cocaine.
Wow.
So is it an addiction? It absolutely positively is. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but there are actually social media treatment centers popping up around the world now, especially in the countries that are consuming it in a major way.
And I would imagine the United States is one of them.
United States is one of them, but we're not the leading one. If you talk about Korea and Japan, they're far bigger consumers than we are.
Really?
And that's where you're seeing most of the treatment centers pop up.
Oh my gosh.
And it's exactly like the AA treatment program.
Except it's WWW treatment.
It's WWW treatment.
I was just thinking about what you said with the major Fox, going to journal citizens. What about all these journalism schools? What about all these broadcast schools? Like here in Hamilton, we've got Mohawk College, great place for broadcasting. Niagara College, broadcasting. And then you can George Brown University broadcasting, Sheridan College broadcasting. What's going to happen to these universities, these schools of greater learning, where people used to be proud to say that they graduated from Niagara College in broadcasting or Mohawk College in broadcasting, and now, little Susie Q, who's 15 years of age, she has a cell phone, she goes out, she scoops a story, and she's taking over a seasoned broadcaster or journalist. I find that so degrading.
It is. But, maybe the other shift that's occurring, every college that you just mentioned, has recognized the shift that's occurring, and you'll notice now they are offering degrees in social media journalism, digital journalism. So it's starting to shift, not only from the Facebook and Twitter
Yep.
parts of the world, but also into podcasting, which is now becoming huge. Everybody has a microphone. You've got your own show, and you could pick up a big audience in a relatively short period of time.
But you see, I'm from the old school. I started this show 25 years ago in a real radio studio. You know, and I still do my shows in real radio studios. And when I hear these people who come on, they have a computer at home, and they connect with Skype, and they've got a few podcasts, and they're a radio station, I figure, you moron. What the hell are you talking about? You have no idea. You can say whatever you want because there's no rules, regulations, so you're not governed by the FCC or the CRTC. You have free range to do whatever you want. And I think that there has to be some rule and regulations when it comes out to podcasting or broadcasting online, because why should why should people who have legitimate radio stations, networks, who have to comply with FCC or CRTC rules and regulations, have to follow these rules where anybody with a computer, a microphone, and the ability to Skype doesn't have to? To me, that makes no sense.
Well, and you're starting to see some of those shows literally get millions, tens of millions in some cases, of listeners a week. There are some radio stations that don't get that. Now, we've got the same shift that's occurring. It used to be that we had in the U.S. 3 networks.
Yep.
Now how many exist?
Tons. Hey, listen, you and I've got to take our final break here. Please stand by. Great talking to you, Nile, X Zone Nation. Nile Nickel is our special guest. BalanceEngines.com. That's www.balanceengines.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone. A real radio station from a real radio show from a real radio station in real Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name's Rob McConnell. Whatever you do, don't go away.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randle. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com.
What happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Nile Nicholas, our guest, balanceengines.com. Nile, what do you think the next evolution in social media is going to be?
You know, we're getting to the point in time where we're starting to see virtual reality raise its head. And I think we're probably going to start to see, within the next few years, we'll probably see some elements of it next year, integration of social media and virtual reality. And that might sound a little bit bizarre, but we're getting some very sophisticated 360-degree cameras that people could use now. Becoming very affordable and very small. By the time you do that and you push over your headset with it, I mean, you could literally put people in the middle of a story.
What about the copyright regulations that are being violated by a lot of these people who put on social, videos and audios on the social media sites? How does an author protect himself from being violated by having his material stolen without getting the proper credit or the proper licensing fees?
Well, that's a big challenge today. I'd like to give you hope and say that there's things. I mean, I could talk about YouTube. Mm-hmm. YouTube had such a problem with audio being put onto a video site, where people could listen to music or whatever. They actually started licensing it, paying the royalties, and putting advertising in it so that they could recover that money. So, in other words, they determined that they couldn't fight it anymore, but they did put a policy in place to at least address it with royalties. But it's becoming so pervasive now. If you create a new piece of content, and I do this digitally, I find that it's not uncommon if I create a new protected piece of digital content behind a membership wall or something like that, somewhere in the world, it generally is copied and put up for sale in less than a day.
Oh, my gosh.
Most of us don't have the ability. In fact, even some of the big publishers don't have the ability to deal with worldwide copyright violations. And then you've got a number of countries like China that don't respect that anyway. So, we're almost in the age of if you put it up on the internet, know that a lot of people may respect it, may pay for it, may do what they need to do, but you're going to have also a number of people that are going to pilfer it from you. It's going to happen if you put it out there. In fact, even if you don't put it on the internet, somebody else will.
Yeah. It's just like the software companies that used to sell software. You'd go into your local store, you'd buy a software package, and away you went. But now, if you want to buy good software, you have to buy it from them on the cloud so they can actually monitor your software package.
That's it. Microsoft's probably the biggest, and they're doing their best to eliminate any digital or physical media, and they only want to be able to make it available and produce it in the cloud. If it's not in the cloud, you don't get it. So, we're going to certainly see a move that direction, and that is sort of the cat and mouse. It's the next step to take it out of people's hands, but I'm not sure it'll stay that way for too long.
Digital pirating is a big concern these days, not only in the music industry, the video industry, but in the publishing industry as well. I remember a time where you could actually protect it. Whoops, are you there, Nile? I think we lost our guest. Uh-oh. Craig, what happened? Did we lose our guest? Can you try and get him back for me, please? All right, Craig's going to try and get our guest back. Okay, here we go. Da-da-da-da-da. So you start talking about the internet and people cut you off. No. His phone number is busy. I guess that he got another call. Anyway, Exo Nation, what do you think? Is there too much leeway on the internet? I think there is. I think that people who use the internet should adhere to the same policies and procedures that legitimate organizations do, like broadcasting, who have to comply with FCC regulations in the States, CRTC regulations up here in Canada, and other regulatory bodies in other parts of the world. Why should authors, why should composers, why should people who dedicate so much of their lives be ripped off because it's on the internet? Theft is theft. If you steal it, you're a thief. If you don't pay for it and use it, you're a thief. It's that plain. It's that simple. And yet you have people who enjoy going on the internet and doing whatever they can to kind of take what they can without paying anything. What do you feel about that, Exo Nation? Does that make any sense to you? Craig, did you want me to try and call our guest one more time? All right, Craig, can you do that for me over there, buddy? All right, so Craig is going to try and do this, and let me see. So far, so good. So far, oh, nope. Craig, we're trying, but we get, let me try one more time. Don't you, this is real radio, guys, where things happen. Nope. All right, Craig, I guess we're just going to have to hitchhike it from here. Let me tell you about our guest. We've had the pleasure of having Nile on the show before. And he's been seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, and CNN. He's a human relations and technology expert. And like we were saying, millions of videos are uploaded onto the internet every day, whether it be through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Vimeo, etc. Some of the videos are innocent and funny, while others actually capture a crime taking place. There we go again. Craig, Craig, who's doing this, and why are they doing this? There's even a better question. Tell me what you think, Exonation. Send me your emails. What do you think about the social media? Should it be governed? A lot of you say, oh, no, don't get the government involved. But let's say you're one of the composers. You're one of the authors. Your material is being ripped off. That is your bread and butter. Isn't it a crime? Or are you that complicit because you figure, hey, what the heck, I've done it myself, no harm done. I like that song, I just ripped it off. Or, geez, yeah, I was able to get a copy of this book online, but no, I didn't pay for it. My friend got it and he passed it along to me. I don't think that's right at all. I think that if you're going to be ripping people off on the internet, you're ripping them off in other places as well. And when it comes to the regulatory systems of audio and video on the internet, I'm for it 100%. After all, legitimate radio stations, legitimate television stations, they have rules and regulations to follow. What makes you people who do internet broadcasting or podcasting so different? You should follow rules and regulations. The internet needs to be cleaned up. There's way too much crap in it. And as I've said many times before, in my opinion, the internet is the biggest septic tank that man has ever created. There's more crap in the internet than anywhere else on earth. There's more thieves on the internet than anywhere else in the earth. Look at all the bullying that happens on the internet. People, like Nile said, they're talking to a keyboard. They don't get to see what happens on the other side when that bullied message gets to that little girl or little guy, and the effect that it has on his or her life. No moral judgments, no moral responsibility. Then, like we were talking, the recruiting that is going on by ISIS. Then, like Nile was talking about, the scientific experiment that Facebook did to prove that they could actually manipulate people using the Facebook newsfeed. That is so wrong. What was it? Months ago, I wrote an article about subliminal advertising on the internet. It's happening, folks. It's happening. You spend more time on the internet or your iPhone than you do talking to people. There are families that instead of calling each other for supper, they text each other. What has happened to society? We're going into a whole new age of LOL, LMFAO, BRB, LOL, and the other alphabet soup that you use in the internet and social media. What's going to happen to communication skills? Talking, listening, exploring the wonders of the world. Does anybody think of that? I think not. I'll be back tomorrow night as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. And for our guest this hour, Nile Nickel. I'm sure there was an internet problem because I've had the pleasure of having him on the show before. And I promise you, X Zone Nation, we will have Nile back in the future. If you'd like more information on Nile, his website is balanceenergies.com. That's www.balanceenergies.com. I am Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, as I say at this time of night, every night, if you can help someone else to make a positive difference in their life, do it. Whether it's smiling, opening up a door, digging deep into your pocket, sharing a can of food, whatever it is, remember, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.